Hello, my name is Trydar. Welcome to part 3 of the Mines of Moria tutorial. We're going to tackle the stairways and the corridors today. So let's get started. Originally, I was thinking about doing the other hallways, but I thought after you build your big main hallway, the very next thing you're actually going to want are these little radiating corridors coming off of those. So let's take a look at the modules for those real quick. So there are going to be two sizes. There's going to be the main large size corridor here. It's got all the same materials we've been using for the previous builds and everything. Of course, they are all modular. Over here, you have the option of having a side room over here or over there. Depending on which size of room, if you put a large room there, you're probably not going to have room for another large room over here. So you would probably want to block this off. Well, not with carpet, but you know, probably with maybe some obsidian or something. Maybe a bit of gold ore. Whatever you think might look nice there. There is a smaller corridor option though, if you want to mix and match your corridors. They both have the 3x3 exits over here. They're designed so that if you want to, you can install one of those automatic 3x3 etho doors in this. But that's redstone, so that's not included in this tutorial series. But there is space if you want to add some space, to add an automatic doorway back there before you start building your main hallway. You, of course, can do that. Now, on the small corridors, they are closer together. So if you do build any sized room here, you're not going to have space for another room here. So you would want to block every other one off with some type of block. And if you want to, you could stagger them. Have like a room, a blocked off room, and a room here. And then have a blocked off room, a room there, and a room over here. If you want to make it just really confusing for people that don't know your mines, to get hopelessly lost in them. Now, before we do that, let's go over, I think over here, and take a look at the interface that you're going to need for the exit way. So this is the large corridor that I was just showing you. But over here, we have a slight difference in the pattern. So over here, we have where we would normally be building another. You see here, we have 2 blocks of cobbled deep slate here. Over here, we have 1, and that's because right here in this section is going to be the interface level with the corridor, or rather the interface of the corridor with the hallway. And I'm just going to show you this in profile because it's really the same as the archway here. The only difference is we shrink it down a little. We just add a border along the, I want to have a potion for this. We add a little border of black stone or obsidian. It's going to be, what, 5 blocks and then 2, and then a 2x5 across the top, 2 here, and 5 back down for your corridor on this side of the hallway. And on the exterior, you want to continue that with a bit of gold, then continue that same numbering with obsidian, and then finally you want to have it come out into your corridor as double thick cobbled deep slate right here. So I'll just replace all this with red wool so it's easier for you to see. I don't exactly have this detail sliced up. It's since you've already built your main hallway, I think it'll just be easier if I come along here and point it out and show you here with the red. Going to need to make it double thick. Right there. With those blocks, that's half of it. So you can see that into your existing modular wall panel, whatever design it works out being, this is the shorter design for the medium-sized hallway. But they're all the same. So if you have either a medium-sized or a very large-sized hallway, wherever you start building your corridor, you can see the pattern here on the floor is continuous. Wherever we would have this little detail here, it's going to extend over now into your corridor, and we start building the pattern again. Because it's the same floor pattern, just a little bit smaller version, and we start shifting it off down the corridor. We'll take a look at that when it's sliced up over there in a moment. But I want to start out by illustrating to you wherever you want to place your corridors, wherever you decide to have a radiating corridor out of your hallway. For instance, you may want to have one over here, or in that corner, or maybe perhaps in that corner and right here, and perhaps one over there somewhere. Just wherever you want to lay out your corridors. I think about the most you can get away with the corridors if you want to have radiating rooms is you might want to allow 2 wall panels of space for those. Like if you have them off in a corridor, off on an angle here, you could probably fit one side room over there, but probably not over there. All right, so let's take one last little look at this here. And to help you sight this, we have the little detail of the light well from part 2. That is where the sides of your doorway should come out at. They shouldn't go. They shouldn't eat into the deep slate. I mean, they shouldn't eat into the glowstone with the deep slate. They should be just right up against it. And that's going to be the other side of that there. So now the very next thing you'll want is the design for the modular hallways. So let's start with the big one, and then we'll come back and do the smaller one. So over here, this is our familiar pattern for the corridors. And I've got 3 modules laid out beside each other. We've got 1, 2, and 3 marked out here. The divisions between the modules on this are going to be 2 blocks, I think, is what I did on those. Like every 2 blocks in the middle here, you can see we have the middle. The middle is doubled up here, kind of, right there with the 4 blocks of glowstone. So let's take a look at that. So we have 2 blocks of glowstone here in the middle. Can't put torches on them. And then we have the repeating pattern that goes all the way out to this point here, and then it will reverse back to this point here. So let me just show you the top-down view of this for that pattern. It's a smaller derivation of the same pattern we've done in the main corridors, or rather in the main hallways, recycled for the corridors, just like so. Let me give you a closer in view of half of the pattern. Now on some of these back here, there are a few extra blocks, like this stuff back here. You don't have to worry about that because I think this is going to end up being extra because of the corridor design. Let me go here's a piece of it. Here we can see we have some of the walls are sitting on top of that. We can see only what's really visible here are the 2 blocks of glowstone and 6 blocks of obsidian. And it's the same when you get back down here. All right, let's go back to that. So the measurements to get from the 2 blocks here, including the 2 blocks, is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And on the 11th block, we get to the middle. And it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, including the last 2 blocks of glowstone there. So it's going to be 10 blocks, 1 and another 10. So that's what, 23 blocks in total for that? No, not 23. It's 10 plus 10 plus 1. That should be 21. I should count that again. So the total length is going to be, to make sure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay. Yep, 21 blocks. Lesson. Never try and do math when you're recording. You'll get it wrong. Just like so. And you want to repeat that pattern as well, just for however long you want your corridor to be. If you want to have this go off into, this is just a straight section, but if you want to have a T-intersect on this, pretend this one module here is going to boil down to one block. So we have one module here as one block. So what I presented here is going to be 3 modules beside each other for a straight corridor. But if you build 2 modules and then one over here, you can do an L intersect. Or if you build 1 module and 3 this way, you can build a T intersection going off this way. And of course, if you build a little cross section of 5 modules, you can have your corridors line up like that. So all you have to do is take one module here and either place it off to the left, or off to the left and the right, or off to the left, right, and forward to get just whatever shape of corridor you need to have. All right, so I think I beat that to death. Let me go around, and these should all be square. Let me make sure, see how far across they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay, so that one's going to be 23 across. So it's 21 by 23. For however much space you need to dig out for your corridors. And the height of that, which I should go ahead and give you. Let's go down here. I should have already measured the height on this. And take a look at the end and see what the height is going to be. Oh, there's one of those doorways I was talking about. I did include it in the world, but I don't think, I didn't slice it out as a tutorial because those won't work on Bedrock. So for half of you, it's not going to be helpful, so I didn't do it. So over here, the height of the corridor, including the ground layer, is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 blocks high. So one module is going to be, what? 21 by 23 by 18. That was 18. I didn't say 15, right? Whatever number I said the first time. I usually write these numbers down ahead of time so I don't have to guess, but I didn't do that for the corridors. I need to go back and do that for the rooms for the next part, though. Okay, so after we've done that, let's take a look here, and after we put in our floor patterns, we need to come along and slap down some cobble deep slate, some obsidian or black stone for the door patterns. So a lot of these blocks back here are going to just be filler blocks that you don't really need. Like so. So I'm just going to outline the visible blocks from the surface, or rather from the front. So we need 2 blocks of cobbled deep slate, and then 2 more here of obsidian. 1 block and another here of gold ore. 1 block of red nether brick, and then 2 blocks of deep slate. And then back here for the entrance to the room, a block of gold ore. And then you want to skip 3 blocks in the middle here. And then repeat that pattern, but going in the other direction back this way. So we can see here that how that matches up with the design for the corridor. And then you just want to flip that over and build the entire thing on the other side over here. You can, of course, if you got the floor pattern right, you can use that as a guide to help you place things. Like the glowstone and the gold here will always point over to the corner of it over here. And the middle over here will always point to the middle of the doorway right there. And then according to whatever corridor design you want, whichever shape you've laid out with your floors and everything, just continue the modules on. Now for the interface, let's say if you want to have a T intersection or something, if you want to have just a simple L bend, you want to take this pattern here, and it needs to be bent over in this section here. So if we build our corridor like normal, like this here, over here we would then want to, instead of this gold ore, we would want to put down more cobbled deep slate, and then knock out all of these blocks here in that pattern. And then I think this section here would be where we would continue the pattern on. So we would want to have not that block there, 2 blocks of obsidian there, and then two more blocks off over in this direction to go that way for another module placed over there. And for that, you would also want to come back and redo the floor pattern a little bit. You would want to take the 6 blocks of obsidian and put them here, and then over here as well. And then this little detail of the blackstone, or rather the obsidian, right here where we see these 3 torches. Right here, you'd want to bend that and then put gold right here and glowstone right there where those 3 torches are. See, we're just taking the pattern for the arch crossing and putting it over here, because the pattern is just a little bit different over here, because this is designed to be an entrance to a smaller room. But if we just want to have a pattern for another corridor over here, we do need to alter it slightly so we can have the pattern be tiled and continuous off in that direction. I hope that made sense. I did try to explain it pretty thoroughly. But, you know, everything in Moria is a repeating pattern, so once you get the pattern down and you build it a couple of times, you should see how it goes together quite quickly. So on the next slice over here, for the walls, we're just going up with deep slate, obsidian, deep slate, and gold, and everything. Just everything you did on the previous phase. Stack it up one more time over here, and then here, and then for however many modules you want to install in whatever configuration they are. The next slice up from that, the same, 3 blocks up. No changes to the walls. For the 4th one, no changes here, except there are going to be changes here over the doorway. So we have our 3x3 doorway installed, so we want to have a lintel of cobbled deep slate and then gold ore directly behind that. All right, next level here, everything going straight up now, 5 blocks. 5-block cobblestone lintel over the doorway. Just like so. 2 more blocks of red nether brick on either side. For the next phase, we have some cobbled deep slate cutting in right here for 2 blocks. The obsidian still going straight up. It cuts in on all sides. Over here, it does it with the gold ore. Just like that there. And right here, we have 1 block, or rather, well, 2 blocks of obsidian or blackstone, depending on which you wanted to use, and 3 blocks of red nether brick on either side of the doorway design. And of course, we have it's overhanging here as well for the divider between the sections. So over here we have everything going straight up right here for 2 blocks of cobbled deep slate. We have 1 block overhanging of obsidian here and 1 here. The deep slate and gold ore go straight up here. And here we have a detail block of obsidian and glowstone right there in the middle. And red nether brick on either side. All right, over here we have two hanging blocks, overhanging blocks of cobbled deep slate there, and there with the gold ore. We have just one here in the corner, right above that torch. And everything in the doorway goes straight up with 2 blocks of red nether brick on either side. All right, next phase, the cobbled deep slate just goes straight up. We've got that 1 to 2 dwarven arch slope to it. We have 2 overhanging blocks of obsidian here. The deep slate in the middle goes straight up. And on here we have one last block of obsidian here to cap off this detail over at the doorway. All right, over here we have a lintel straight across, 5 blocks of obsidian, 5 blocks of cobbled deep slate, and then we do the obsidian, 2 blocks, and then 2 overhanging blocks here of cobbled deep slate, right there, 2 obsidian, and then 5 here in the middle, for a total of 7 blocks of cobbled deep slate, gold ore behind that for the doorway. Just like so, and then whatever block you want to put back here. I don't think it's going to be visible, so it doesn't matter. Whatever block that is. And of course, we're completing the archways down the middle, our dividing archways. We've got that one there, copy of it here, and then a copy of it there, and on down there. All right, next phase here. We're outlining the entire thing. It'll be obvious now. We're outlining the entire thing with obsidian or black stone. So we want to have a 7-block run of obsidian right there, and it's going to be 1 block overhanging the deep slate. You're going to do that now for all of these. Now that we're past the level of the doorways and the arches, all the ceilings in this are going to be exactly the same. So if you do 1/4 of a ceiling, the other 3/4 are going to just be rotated copies of that. And a little cobbled deep slate here in the corner. So over here again, we want to stack up our obsidian just straight up, and we want to have these little details in the corners. These are very stretched and stylized pendentives we have going on in the corners here, with just this 1 block of red nether brick right there as an accent. I think there are a couple more blocks though. So on the next phase here, we want to overhang now the obsidian with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blocks of cobbled deep slate, 2 blocks of red nether brick, and then 9 more blocks of deep slate, red nether brick, deep slate, all the way around the room in a big square with the red nether brick in the edges. So for the next phase here, we can see we're just edging around the entire thing. We're hanging it over 1 block on all 4 sides with red nether brick, with 1 extra block overhanging in the middle, right there on all the 4 sides. All right, for the next phase in this, on top of the red nether brick, you want to go around and put a layer of obsidian. And in the middle here, we can count 4 blocks, and in the 5th block here, we want to have a run of cobbled deep slate for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 blocks. And then there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks on either side. We're just making a little cross of cobbled deep slate there in the ceiling. For the next phase of that, we want to come around, and on all the sides we want to add extra cobbled deep slate overhanging those, so that it's going to be 3 blocks wide, straight on top of the cross that we just put down, right there. And then around that, we want to set back a block and do some edging of gold ore, just like so, right here, right behind these torches, just like that there. I put down the torches because sometimes it can be difficult to count the obsidian texture, so just to make it really apparent what the block count should be. It's just 3, 2 diagonal, and 3. for all 4 of those. For the next one, we're at the last phase here, so we're just capping the entire thing off with this design here. You can still see the cross we have of the deep slate that we made over there. And on top of that, we just want to add a block of glowstone, 2 blocks of obsidian, 3 blocks of red nether brick, and then fill the rest in with gold ore. And from below, this is what that will end up looking like. And once you have done that, you will know how to build one entire module section of a corridor. So you can go ahead and do that. And like I said, if you want to have a corridor going off in a T intersection or something, you don't want to build a doorway over here. So it's very important for you to figure out how you want to lay out your corridors before you start building too many modules. So you can see here, all you have to do to get the next corridor section is just knock out the doorway. And instead of this gold ore over here, we want to replace that with cobbled deep slate, and then on the section here, just knock this out completely according to whatever the pattern was over here, and replace that with the edging out of the obsidian. And then, you know, it's like I explained earlier. Just have your corridor going off in that section there. All right, now let's take a look at the smaller corridor design. Let's say you want to mix and match your corridor sizes. You know, there's variety, and the height of that is going to be. Well, let's go ahead and count that while I'm here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the small corridors are going to have a height of 12, and the modules of those are going to be, let me fly down here, count them out. So the modules of that are going to be, 12 tall, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 blocks wide. And I think that these have the double dividers. So the length of these is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 blocks long. But if we divide the corridors in the middle, we might want to shave out 1 block over there and make that 13. If we counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then another 13 here to get to there. You can see how you can measure them out that way in increments of 13. So let's take a look. There's a very simple repeating floor pattern here for the corridors. They don't share the floor pattern for the big ones because these are just too small. So I put in a very simplified and easy to replicate floor pattern here for that. Just like so, we can see the divider between here where we have the 2 blocks of cobbled deep slate. This is going to be where our module would start repeating itself. Right there. So let's go over here and take a look at the simple patterns for this. So we have our two blocks of cobbled deep slate, 2 blocks of obsidian, and then 2 more deep slate. Right there. And this is what the pattern would be if we want to have like an L intersect and have another corridor going off in that direction there. But if you want to build your doorway, we just want to have 2 blocks of red nether brick on either side. All right, for the next phase, everything just goes straight up from the previous phase. The next phase after that, stack it up for 3 blocks. And then here on the 4th block, we have overhanging deep slate here, and 3 blocks of red nether brick to cap off our doorway there. For the next phase after that, the deep slate goes straight up. We have a block of overhanging obsidian there and there. Red nether brick and glowstone here for the doorway. The next phase after that, we have 3 blocks of lintel here for the arch. 1 block of overhanging cobbled deep slate. 3 blocks here to cap off the doorway. And then here we have a, what is that, a 7-block run of obsidian on all the 4 sides, and continue up your cobbled deep slate for 1 block there. For the next one, we just want to put a big square of cobbled deep slate on this, measuring what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's going to be probably 7 in the middle, and then 9 back across this way. Okay, then we want to put a little coffering design of red nether brick. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, and then probably 5 in the middle, another 7 over here of red nether brick, and then put just a little cross in the middle for the 5x5 cutout. Show you that from below. Very simple design. And grabbed. And then on top of that, for the next to last phase, or what probably actually could be the last phase, you can put 3 blocks of gold and then some lighting of glowstone in the top here. Just like so. Pretty simple design. For the corridors, these are very simple. If you want to have like a T intersection, just knock out these couple of blocks right there. The floor pattern doesn't really matter for this, so you can have one going off that way or that way, and just, you know, knock them out over here for like a T intersection. And then I counted this out at 15, but I suppose you don't need to put down another layer of deep slate on top of this. You've already capped off the roof. So I suppose this should be 14 blocks tall. But if you want to make it easy on yourself, you could dig this out to a total of 16 blocks tall. And then you could have, when you're finishing your ceiling, you could have 2 blocks of space up here to walk on. To make things a little easier, so you wouldn't have to build so much scaffolding and everything. I think probably the glowstone up here would be enough to keep mobs from spawning. But you know, you might want to lay down some additional torches up there for that anyway. Same applies to the other corridor as well. If you like to walk on top of things instead of building a whole bunch of scaffolding, you might want to allow 2 extra blocks on the top of that for when you're building it out. And I'll show you over here this little design for the doorway. Like if you want to have a doorway and not just walk straight into your rooms, over here, let's give an example of that. So where I've got these 3 torches right here, over here, this is where you could conceivably place, well, I can't place the torches on top of the, I have to place 2 torches there. For, well, wherever we have the 3 torches placed there is where these 3 pressure plates could conceivably go. So you could have yourself an automatic doorway right here. And of course you have 3 plates on the other side to close it. But as I said, this design doesn't work in Bedrock. So I haven't included it in this. This is a very old, very, very old door design made by Ethos Lab. He made this, oh, I forget. Just like, it's just a really long time ago. I took his design from this because I'm terrible at redstone. But redstone has changed since he made this. And I think it'll still work on Java, but it will not work on Bedrock because Bedrock has weird redstone mechanics. I forget what mechanic this relies on for that. It's got something to do with like these pistons and the repeater and visibility for that. Something I don't really know. Don't really know. Redstone, not my specialty. But this is included in the world download. So if you are really good at Bedrock Redstone, you can come over here and tinker with this. Maybe try and make it work for yourself. Now, there is one last module we need to cover today. It is over here, the entrance corridor, which I showed you in part 1. So to get all the way down to the deepest levels where you're going to be building these corridors, you need to build some sort of stair system. And the first one, I would recommend you build 1 module to be an entranceway for wherever you want to have the entrance to your dwarven mines. So let's say out here where we have this red wool and everything, you have like a cliffside mountain entrance or something over here. You know, I can't really terraform one in 2 seconds, but you get the idea. And then we would want to we would want to start with a module of our archway right here as a starting point. And then I think perhaps in a future video, it's not going to be in this, but I may double back on this and show you a dwarven mine entrance prototype of something that I've already made. But it's not going to be in this world download. It'll have to be in another one. But I made that to attach to a corridor section here. So let's say you build yourself a starting corridor, and I would recommend you build it like 3 corridors deep over there for your starting module. That way you can have like a couple of rooms up here at the top. But then once you get to your third archway over here, you can see we have our archway here and our dividing archway here. Something you can attach to that are some more modules that I've sliced up over there. I'll explain. So you can see every place you see these 2 blocks of glowstone is going to be a module. So if we back off from that, we can see if we add a total of 5 modules, we can go down all the way to another set of corridors. Now, depending on if you've built your corridors first, I would suggest starting down here at the bottom and building your modules up like this here. Conversely, you can also break up your modules. Like here, if you want to build 1 corridor section and then build 1 module, and then forget that we have 5 here and pretend we have just 1 up here. You could have this go up to a corridor section, a stair, and then another corridor module over here. And then you could put another stair section here, and then another corridor module over here. Or conversely, you could build 2 corridor modules, or rather 2 stair modules and then a corridor, or 3 and then a corridor, or 4 and 4 or 5, just however many you need to get all the way up and down to your desired height. This can be a little tricky to do, so it's going to require quite a lot of digging out and pre-planning before you start building entire modules. With all that explanation out of the way, a lot of explanation today, let's go over here and take a look at the stair sections. And the first thing we want to do is get the measurements of the stair section, I think. For the entire module, this is going to be like the measurements you'll need to dig out for the space that you're going to need. So they're going to be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20, 23. 23 blocks tall for an individual module. And the footprint you need for those is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there's 6 blocks. Okay, this is I've only sliced up half of a module for this, haven't I? Whoops. Let me go over here. Back over here to the full one so I can give you the correct dimension. I don't want to guess and be off by 1 on that. So over here I placed a full module, because what I've been showing you is just going to be half of those. Just like so here. You can have fun flying up and down this with your elytra. You can see how this full module here is going to fit just straight onto one of our archways. So here we have our archways. We've got our 2 blocks of glowstone I've been talking about since we started. These 2 blocks here, they match up with this here. But as a different detail, if you want to add the optional rails here, you don't have to add the rails. You can put these in different configurations if you want to. You could have them all be rails, or you could have them all be stairs. But either way, there is going to be enough for a total of 7 blocks of either stairs or rails going down the center here for the design. And for this, let's get the measurement I came over here to get. So the total width of this is going to be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 blocks across. So I think they were 23 blocks tall, so that's going to be a square. And then they're going to step forward by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks at a time. Yeah, that is 8, right? Yeah. So it's going to be 23 by 23 by 7. So every time you want to do yourself out a square of 23 by 23, and then you want to drop down by 7 blocks. Drop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh. You want to drop down by 8 blocks. You want to drop down by 8 blocks and then go another 8 blocks. So it's going to be 8 down and then 8 over, 8 down and then 8 over. All right, so let's go back over here and show you the design pattern for this. Now I've sliced this straight down the middle. Where have I sliced it? Yeah, here we are. Straight down the middle here. So remember we had 2 rails and then 3 stairs, but if we draw a line straight down the 3rd stair, like so, that can be our center line right here. So what we're going to be building over here, we just want to mirror on the other side of that line right there. So the first thing, if you want the powered rails, we need to put down some way to power them. And I hope you have a lot of extra redstone. So you need some redstone blocks for this. I chose redstone because it looks really cool underneath the rails and everything with the dwarven aesthetic, with the red nether brick and everything. We wanted more red with that. And then we have our rails and then our stairs. Or conversely, we would just have 1, 2, 3. We would just have a run of 7 stairs to get all the way across if you don't want the rails. Another detail you could do is you could put a rail and then a stair and then rails down the middle. However you want to, perhaps another stair down the middle. Just however many stairs and rails you feel like building. So we can see behind that, the pattern for the rails and the stairs is going to continue up at a 45-degree angle. Just every next block, just shift it 1 block farther back. And on the sides here are really the only details. So we've got red nether brick and then obsidian. Another level up from that, we have glowstone and then all obsidian, 2 blocks. See, this is going to straight back. Over here, glowstone, 3 blocks of obsidian, the redstone and the stairs. And then over here we have, I think that's, yeah. And then over here we have red nether brick, obsidian. We have this block here empty, and deep slate behind that, and then 2 blocks of cobbled deep slate. For the next level up, we have these 2 blocks here open, and then these 2 on either side. The next level up, you can see we're stair-stepping up with this design here, right there. And then we have an overhanging block of red nether brick here. For the next level up, we have a red nether brick just going straight up, overhanging block of cobbled deep slate, and then 4 blocks back here open. You can see our obsidian along the side here is following along with the rails. Over here we have overhanging blocks of red nether brick and deep slate right there. And then back here, we're approaching a different section of it. So we have red nether brick right there. And, yeah. Okay, so here we've gotten to the full 8 block. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So over here we've gotten to the full block section here, right here. So we don't have 2 additional blocks of redstone here, because those 2 blocks are going to be these 2 blocks back down here, depending on how many times you want to tile down your railing and everything. So we appear to have, I know that this counted out to 9, and that's because I suppose I shaved it off too much, because this block of red nether brick back down here, right here, that corresponds exactly to this block down here in the module design pattern. So the module itself really ends right here. But if you want to have another one, you would need to immediately start building it back down here. And the next details for that, we have the red nether brick going straight up, overhanging obsidian here, and the cobbled deep slate along the sides here. You can see these 2 blocks are going straight up right there, because those two correspond exactly to these 2. I can't put a torch right there. These 2 right back down here in the pattern. I know it may be a little confusing to start with, but once you do one of these and put them side by side, I think you will much easily see how these tile into each other. For the next level up here, we have a crossing. We're going to have 2 blocks, but it's really going to be 3 blocks of red nether brick here, and then we will start over here going back down with the red nether brick and everything. Over here we have the obsidian and the glowstone. Of course, this glowstone block corresponds exactly to that one there. So there's going to be a second one placed on top of that there, because we had two down here. And over the doorway, we have just a straight run of obsidian right there. And then, of course, we just have our cobbled deep slate along the wall there. For the next level up, for the archway, we want to have a straight run of cobbled deep slate all along there, and then all along the walls until we get to that section there. Alright, for the next section, we just want to stack up cobbled deep slate just right on top. Right there. For the section after that, we still have to cap all of this off with a ceiling. That's what we're doing now. So we want to go a step back here, and then add some gold ore in the center. This is along our center line right here. Gold ore, and then glowstone to light it up. 2 blocks of obsidian. And then these 2 overhanging blocks here. Because those 2 overhanging blocks here correspond, or rather they should correspond, to the ones that are down here. But I think this section here, I think that's why I sliced it here, because this section here, this interfaces with the very most top section of the corridor. Remember the long corridor we did when we first started? This section over here, that's why I sliced this bit of extra, because the design is just slightly different here for that. So back over here, for the corridor, we just want to do the same design, but we want to push it forward 1 block here. We still got the gold ore, the glowstone, and the obsidian here. Just like so. And then over here we have the gold ore again and the obsidian. Only 1 block of space there now. 2 overhanging blocks here for the top corridor interface. Next level up, same deal. We're just pushing this forward. We've run out of blocks here, so we just have 2 blocks of obsidian there now. The next level up from that, we're pushing this forward again. 1 block of obsidian space there. And then, of course, we're finishing off our familiar corridor just like so. So for the next level, we're capping the entire thing off with gold ore and obsidian. Like that there. And that will actually finish the modules from below. So it's kind of a confusing module, I know, because it's a 45-degree module. It's not really something I've tried to show you before. They usually have been squares placed beside each other. But since Moria is an underground 3D structure, we do have to add in some of these things, so we can get around without having to just have straight down elevators and everything. We want to have some nice door and staircase designs too, and that is what these are. So for that, if you want to, if you have extra space, you don't really have to take the extra and slap 2 more layers of cobbled deep slate on this. You could stop right here and leave yourself some space up here if you want to walk on top of it while you're building it. So that's going to be a full sliced module down the middle, and I've showed you over here in profile how the sliced modules are paired next to each other. So let's go back over here and take a closer look at how these interface with the corridors again. So you can see here we have the design will vary just a little bit as we go down. So we saw over here there were cutouts here for overhanging obsidian, which we don't have up here. This is because we're taking a full corridor design, just like we would have over here for a doorway, except we are meshing it in to the design over here. So the design for this, all these go straight across here. But when we get down over here, we have to lower them down by 1 block in the pattern. I'll put some torches there to make that more apparent as we go. But depending on how many of these you want to repeat as they go straight down, they follow that pattern there as they go down. You can see they continue the shifted pattern down with the corridor. But when we get down here to the ground level where we want to interface with the new corridor, they go back to being straight. So that's a very small subtlety in the pattern. It's easy to miss, so I wanted to come back over here and point it out so there wouldn't be any confusion on that topic. But I think the easiest way to make these corridors is going to be to decide where you want to have your corridor, make some measurements out, go back in steps of 8, and dig out your 45-degree diagonal, and put down your stairs in increments of 8. As you see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. Well, there's some extra filler over there, but they go back in increments of 8. And once you have done that, I would first dig out your 45-degree staircase so you can figure out where you want to have that interface with your corridor. And I wouldn't build too many corridors first. I would just build one. I would just build the archway of this corridor here, and then I would double back and start building out all these, just in case you got off by one somewhere around here. You won't have to have an ugly interface up here somewhere where you have your corridor if you had already built it. So this is going to require a lot of planning on your part, as the Moria series is kind of an advanced level build difficulty, I would say, because of all the bits and pieces that you have to put together, because everyone is going to want to design their Moria a different way. So the best I can do is show you all the modules, try and explain how they fit together, all the repeating elements, and then leave it up to you to figure out exactly how you want to lay them out. So a lot of talking on a lot of different parts today. I hope all that was explained good enough. I really did try my hardest to do that. Remember, if anything was unclear, though, you can always come here and download the world and take a closer look at the patterns for yourself if you need to see some of the subtleties of how they might fit together. So I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.